Hey, what's up everybody? Marcos from P.O.D here, and you are watching Metalshop TV. I wouldn't say difficult, but it was definitely challenging. Making Veritas was kind of something that we did in a space that was given because of the pandemic. We had a lot of time to sit back and reflect on what we wanted to do, what type of music we wanted to write, the type of record we wanted it to be. And we weren't sure, and we kind of found our way through it. And Veritas means truth in the old Latin dialect. So it's our truth individually and collectively as a band. So for instance, we were going through some stuff with our former drummer, and that was personal, and we were like dealing with that internally and trying to figure out what we wanted to do as a band. But then we were also dealing with the same shit that everybody else was dealing with regards to the pandemic. So we weren't sure where our life was gonna go. So we were like, okay, let's start writing some music and see what happens. And Veritas is basically, it was born from that. It was intentional in the sense that when we did our last record, Circles, people loved it, but a lot of people were like, it's not heavy rock enough. Because we are, I'd like to say this because I speak highly of my bandmates. We're capable to flirt with different styles of music, from reggae to punk to pop and to metal, and we like to dabble. That record was a little more alternative, poppy, alternative metal per se. This record was like, we're gonna just write a good old-fashioned P.O.D. solid P.O.D. rock new metal record, our version, and that's what we came up with. Well, we're fans of music. Just because we joined a band doesn't mean that we stopped being fans. So whether it's a legendary artist per se, like Bad Brains or Suicidal Tendencies or Metallica or Slayer, we basically like to pick artists that we're fans of, whether they're new or old. And for us, we always think of ideas for every record, like, hey, who are we gonna choose on this record? And we broke down with Randy on Shiprocked, which is a cruise, and became friends and built a friendship from there. And we were kind of thinking of ideas of who could actually sing on this track, Drop. And we thought of him, and he's like, if I like it, I'll do it. He listened to the track and was like, I love it, let's do it. Easy as that. Is that? Yeah, sorry. So with that being said, that kind of happened organically. Tatiana kind of happened organically also. At the time, Alex, her husband, from formerly of Suicide Silence, was playing drums with P.O.D. He's currently not in the lineup, but he was helping us out, and his wife is Tatiana, and it kind of just worked out that she was like, I grew up to P.O.D, I love P.O.D, and it just happened organically. We also have Cove Reber of Seosin singing on the album also, and that kind of happened. He lives in San Diego, he's a fan, we're friends, and just happened like that. I think you're accurate there. It is a good assessment because as an artist, we like to encourage and inspire our fellow brothers and sisters around the world. And we like to do that with our music. And like I said, this album was born during the pandemic. So it was kind of one of those things where we were all going through our own struggles. And, it's definitely a good assessment. Like, that's where you're right. It's about the struggle. It's about life in general. And and being a human with problems and, you know, tackling those problems, you know. No, we were young. We were young, and the only way I can describe it is it felt like a hurricane. Everything's floating around really fast, and people are telling you this and telling you that. But when we created the music, we knew we had something special. We felt like, oh, we're onto something. And we feel the same way about the new record too, which is actually really cool. The producer and the A&R rep for that record, Satellite, they both didn't work on this new album, but they both listened to it and reached out and said, hey, you know what? This is probably your best work since Satellite, from the original producer and A&R rep. So we took that as a compliment and we're like, thank you. So yeah, it was a good time. I wouldn't change it for anything. Well, the main factor is tangibility. Having a tangible CD or a vinyl, like we still have vinyl, but people actually went to the store to buy a CD. That's a big difference. I think we're one of the last few bands, us, Linkin Park, maybe Limp Bizkit. Like, I still have plaques, platinum plaques from selling CDs. That is non-existent anymore, you know? It's all about streaming now. That's the major difference. Well, a wise man once said, you have to evolve or you evaporate. So you can sit there and complain about it, or you can say, you know what, I gotta go with the flow. I'm an artist, I don't like this per se, I don't like all of it, but I gotta use it. Definitely felt we had something special because it came from a really sad place. When we were writing Satellite, we were in a studio in a town in San Diego called Santee, and there was a school shooting about 3 blocks away from the studio during that time. And on our way to the studio in that morning, there was chaos. There was helicopters, everything was kind of out of control, and we were wondering what happened. Well, we found out that some youngster went in and shot up his classmates. So I put my guitar on, and out of sadness, I said, someone lost a brother, someone lost a sister, a son today because of somebody's anger and whatnot. So that song, I started playing the notes, and it just kind of grew into Youth of the Nation at that very moment. So it's pretty intense. It's probably more relevant today than it was back then. It's just more common, especially in the United States with all the shootings, but I'm starting to hear about more of this shit happening around the world, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? People are losing their minds when they think that's the way to handle it. They want to handle a temporary problem with a permanent solution, and that's not the answer. Well, faith is personal. Faith has nothing to do with anybody but yourself. And I think that's the difference. I am not a very religious guy. I like some of the fundamentals of religion, but as a whole, I think religion causes a lot of problems where there's only 2 things that Jesus asked of his people. Love me, love him, and love thy neighbor. All the other stuff everyone gets hung up on, I'm like, that's human. You know what? The principles of the 10 Commandments, there's nothing wrong with thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. That's good. People get caught up on all this religious stuff. Oh, you look this way, or you don't dress this way, or And to me, that's minor. Like, that doesn't matter. It's personal, man. It's, you know, and I'm not here to try to convert you or change you. If anything, I'm trying to be an example for my brothers and sisters to be a better person. That's it. You know what's cool? I guess got done here at the festival watching Alpha Wolf. I like that kind of stuff, like Turnstile, Knocked Loose. You know, they were pretty awesome. Vended, stuff like that. I think it's very encouraging and promising for the future of metal. You know, Loathe, Lorna Shore. It's pretty cool stuff, man. Really gross titties. It's like girls need to keep them in if they ain't nice. It's like, don't show me those. You distracted me. I just messed up. I'm kidding, but no, I am just. Anyways, look, next question. Definitely nervous, first gig. It was probably about 60 people, our friends. And well, my first gig with P.O.D was that way. Prior to that, I played in a punk rock band called Chicken Farm, which was a Dead Kennedys. They named it after a Dead Kennedy song. I did some backyard parties like that, and I was nervous, but you just get up and do it. I mean, you mess up, whatever. It's punk rock, let's go. Well, my favorite tattoo is my family. I have my name, my last name right here on a heart in the middle of my chest. And then I have my son's names and banners with roses. That probably means the most to me. But my favorite is my Star Wars tattoo that I'm working on my leg. I have Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the Emperor watching Darth Vader and Luke fight on the leg. It's been a long time since I've not played music for a living, so I'm blessed to be able to play music this long and still be relevant and do what we do, but I always wanted to be a pilot. Before I became a musician, I wanted to be a pilot, and then I fell in love with guitar, and I was like, oh no, now I just ride planes, I fly in planes, I'm just not the pilot. But being a pilot or a sushi chef and have my own sushi restaurant.